My name is Ryan Knight. Let me share my screen. If you are here, I trust that you're looking for what funding is currently available. Every 2 weeks, we come into this Zoom call to figure out what is available, what funding you should be applying for. And it's really important that when we find these different programs that are available, we have to apply as soon as possible. We're seeing that two of them are now doing wait lists for fall, and we had talked about it when they first came out. So if you applied right away, I'm sure you're in one of the cohorts for May, June, or July, even April. But if not, the wait list is happening and they might run out of money by then. So procrastination, and again, I am so guilty with procrastination. So I'm technically talking to myself, although for this one, I did get my application in. So let's get into it. Today, representing Empowered for X and the Afro-Caribbean Business Network, we're here to talk about the different funding and grant opportunities that are out there. I am your facilitator, Ryan Knight. If you don't know who I am, I consider myself a serial social entrepreneur. I run various social enterprises, namely Detailing Nights that provides mobile waterless car cleaning. I've run the Service Kingdom that coaches social enterprises and is, I guess, my consulting firm. We're putting together the Executives Power Up and the Black Panthers Cage, which is a secret, so under development. But I'm currently the co-founder of I was one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. So we work with entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage. But really, on a whole, we exist to help businesses increase their capacity and create this a machine that can become an asset tool to build generational wealth. A little bit about Empowered for X. I'm in the building today. It's a physical co-working space here in Brampton, but we do have a large virtual community as well. Of course, you can get a business address here with our virtual membership and access to our support and business, business supports. So a lot of times there's things that you need to execute for your business. You are just one person. You shouldn't be wearing all the hats or pulling all the levers of your business, of the machine. You need to understand how to delegate and build your team. So we at Empowered for X are definitely here to support you with that and would love to connect with you further. I always do want to make sure we do a shout out to our partners, ranging from Alterna Savings. Shout out to Susan Henry and her team, which includes Jean Baird and I think a couple more people they've been hiring in their community investments division. Really big supporters. We were able to create a loan program with them that I'm going to talk about a bit later. Sheridan and their EDGE program, the Entrepreneurship Discovery and Growth Engine, Dream Legacy Foundation that supports a lot of Black tech founders. So if you're working on a technology, whether it be software as a service or actual physical technology, definitely connect with their Black Innovation Fund and the programs that they run out of Ryerson. Calabash, which is a cooperative of expert service providers in our community. So if you're ever looking for a consultant, definitely check out calabash.global. They have a vendor list of, again, experts in their field in our community that can support you in fine-tuning your business or your nonprofit. SETC, the social economy through social inclusion, definitely keeping us in the loop with social finance and how to leverage government programs and also create our own cooperatives and social finance focused initiatives. ZSE, which is our business development partner. Shout out to Chris Alexander that works with us to support any entrepreneurs that fill out our business needs assessment so that they get a call within 48 hours. We get to figure out what stage of business you're in and then support or point you or plug you into the right supports. Always do a big shout out to the Toronto Community Benefits Network, Rosemary Powell there, that's been a supporter of ours since before, just when this was just an idea, and really want to thank them for all the help that they've given along the way and continue to do with supporting our initiatives. And as we extend our reach into Quebec, a shout out to Pharaoh Hamid and his team with One Full Circle. The OFC is a way to, I feel like it's ACBN Quebec, but they're based in Montreal and are working with Francophone and Anglophone residents of Montreal and Quebec to really or support them in their business needs. And they have an international network. So always glad to give them a shout out. And a little bit about the ACBN. We started about 4 years ago, and it was really because I was seeing a gap as a business owner. We were seeing that I was looking to franchise, looking to grow my company, and there weren't any Black focused business organizations that I could go to that had the mandate of scaling up companies. And even we run a youth entrepreneurship program, and those youth that were coming through the program, when they graduated, there were no Black focused organizations to support them. So we brought 6 other entrepreneurs together, said, could we create this entity that would sit down with an entrepreneur, figure out what stage they're in, and then help them create a blueprint to exponentially grow their companies. Thus, ACBN was born. Since then, we've engaged with over 4,000 Black entrepreneurs. We're seeing that over 70% of them are female entrepreneurs. And in our database, about 91% are the business founders and the CEOs. But what I'm most proud of is actually the partnerships and relationships that we've been able to build. Right now, we're part of the Federal Black Entrepreneurship Ecosystem, which has just, I think, 40 Black focused business organizations in it. And then we want to also extend that out to, I would say, non-business focused organizations. So we're continually growing those relationships with the different themes in the community, whether it's education, justice, healthcare, or social issues. We want to make sure that the economic piece is supporting all of those other pillars, and it definitely extending our reach. And a quick tidbit, we're about to launch one of the first ever the labor market assessments in the Black community. So stay tuned for that data as we begin to develop it. I always love to touch on the pillars of ACBN. Of course, entrepreneurship. I believe that might even be just the bedrock foundation that everything is built on, because entrepreneurship to me is a low barrier to entry and unlimited potential. And it really levels the playing field with building wealth and having ownership. And that allows us to have this economic inclusion. It's something that I love to convene around. And you see, we do these sessions every other week. We also are going to start back our in-person networking. Although we did start back, I would say, dipped our toe in the water. We had First Fridays here at Empowered for X. So shout out to those that were able to make it. We're going to be doing First Fridays, the Dragon's Den edition on May 6th. So if you do want to pitch your business, please send me a note and I'll send you the application. That's going to be at the Dream Suites over by the airport. But what we're all here for is, I feel, that pillar that a lot of times gets ignored, but it's so important, is access to funding. And with us, we've been able to develop programs such as our microloan in partnership with Alternative Savings. But there's so much additional programs that have come out for the Black community. I always say there's a lot of money flowing. We have to now position ourselves in front of that flow of money. So I typically show a bit of our track record. We've raised funds from various sources, such as pitch competitions. We've got money from cities such as Brampton and Mississauga, even from the province, like the Youth Opportunities Fund through the Ontario Trillium Foundation, and also from from federal, where the Supporting Black Communities Initiative and the Federal Black Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Fund, where funding that we've received has been as low as $500 up to 1.3 million and everything in between. And this is where I really get excited about helping other organizations and nonprofits be able to access funding as well. A story that we typically tell is around Rescue Youth International, where they were having trouble finding grants, and they're doing such great work in the community with their education, advocacy, and youth in the justice system, that now we were able to work with them to make sure and find a grant that they qualified for, which was the Investment Readiness Program, and then create a social enterprise that now they're actually relaunching for the spring. You'll see on Thursdays, they have a new location that's here in Brampton. So they launched a social enterprise that's a food truck that from the profits is going to be able to sustain their nonprofit. So that to me is the holistic view of social enterprise, where a nonprofit creates an income generating activity, and that allows them to keep the nonprofit sustainable with those profits. So we're not going to dive too deep into the grant writing blueprint, but this is, I would say, the base of what I try to teach. Any grants that you see, I would say 80 to 90% of them are very similar and ask the same questions. So you want to be able to develop a blueprint for yourself. So having answers to those questions allows you to apply for grants a lot easier. We go deeper into it with the Grant Hunter University. I'll talk about that more at the end, but if you're interested in building a blueprint for yourself, we definitely have a self-guided path to that, or you can work with us directly and we can get it done for you. Of course, the federal government does have this link to their business benefits finder. So when I share this presentation with you, check out this link. It'll show you what types of federal grants and programs are available. You pretty much just answer certain questions about your company, and then it'll pretty much spit out all the different resources that they have. Typically, there's at least 10 to 20 that are active at a time, at a given time. So you'll want to definitely check that out for yourself. But I wanted to now jump into the current available grants. And one that I was actually going to start with is this Digital Main Street one. So for those that were here 2 weeks ago when I was talking about this, I would assume that you've already registered and you're in one of the cohorts, because they're going to be for April, May, June, and July. So if you did not, they are now taking a wait list for the fall. So let me sign in so you can see what to expect. So with Digital Main Street, they partnered with the Parkdale Center and their Parkdale Innovates program. So now you go through coaching and mentoring with Parkdale, and Digital Main Street also has videos that you have to watch. And at the end of all that, you make a business plan for yourself or a business transformational plan, and you would get $10,000 to be able to access or to execute your plan. So I want to show you what the video section looks like. So they ask you to do an assessment of your business, and then they have this section with the free online courses, and it's in this Main Street relaunch program. So these are all videos to expect. All right, so you'll see it's 100% complete. Gone through and watched all these different modules. So there's 10 modules, one video in each. Pretty straightforward, but it is good to go through them, and you can do it, I guess, before you actually get into the cohort, just so that it's done. So that way, when you finish your Parkdale cohort, you don't have to now go back and watch all these videos. But the videos themselves are good to watch just to kind of fine tune your online marketing. And so if you're seeing this for the first time, be sure to come to this page, digitalmainstreet.ca, and actually I'll put it into the chat. So that way, oops, you can make your account, and then you'll see, oh, where's my thing here? And /raise. All right, so the specific ones, Demetrius, I've seen you from North Carolina, much appreciated, thank you for joining. Most of these would be focused on Canada. We do have our spreadsheet that talks about, I'll say, international grants. So after this, when we send you the follow-up email, I'll send a link to the fund, what do we call it? The fundraising or fund development spreadsheet, and you'd be able to look through to see if there's anything that fits for North Carolina for sure. And actually, we could probably book a call. Remind me to touch base with you, and we can check through our database for North Carolina specific grants. All right, so let me put this down. And the other one, so the Canada Digital Adoption Program, is also done through Digital Main Street. And you'll see for those that already registered, an email went out, I believe at the beginning of this week, talking about they're going to be onboarding in May. So if you have not signed up, again, here, I'll get the link for you. Oops. Because this is something that you need to do so that you're not put into, well, so that you're in the queue, and that way you do not miss it. So you go to the same Digital Main Street, but it's CDAP at the end. And when you go to the site, right, Donji, this is the grant for 2400. So Digital Main Street's running both programs. So the 2400 one is the Canada Digital Adoption Program, and the RAISE one is the $10,000 grant that includes the workshops and coaching. So when you go to this site, actually, I can go to it. And it'll ask you to sign up. So it's talking about the 2400 here. All right, Dr. Ashley, no problem. And so yeah, put in your information, you'll sign up, and then you'll see, let me see if I can find this email that I got from them. Oh, that's not it. I don't know if I'll be able to find it. Pretty much just telling you that, oh, application update. Let me see this one. No, this was our application. Anywho, it pretty much told you we're still working on it. So be patient. We're going to start the process in May. All right. So I did want to touch on Summer Company really quick. For those that are under 30 and still in school, you can get $3,000 to start a business in the summer months. If you're under 30 and outside of school, let them know. I would still apply and let them know that you are going to be taking courses in September. And hey, take a course, take a business course. Sheridan College has great business courses that you can be taking to fine tune your expertise and help you run your business a bit better. You would then qualify for this $3,000. But one that we typically talk about that is now available is the Investment Readiness Program. So they typically have two intermediaries that disperse funds. So the first one is the Canada Women's Foundation. Their application is open, but that's specifically for charities. So if you're not a charity, you can partner with a charity. So if you're a for-profit or a nonprofit, I would find a charity that aligns with your mission, and then you'd be able to apply for this Investment Readiness Program together. The Community Foundations of Canada is the other intermediary that they open up their application to for-profits, social enterprises, nonprofits, and charities, and they're able to get you between 10,000 up to 100,000. But to get on their newsletter, I would advise you to go to this website that I'm showing. And when you scroll down, you can click on Learn More, and it talks about the history. But here you can put more information about your business or your nonprofit or your social enterprise. And that way, when this program is opened up, you'll get an email notification for it. I'm going to pull up the Canadian Women's one. Because even though it is focused on charities and programs that are supporting women, and like that's their mandate, if you're a for-profit and you're partnered with a charity that has the same mission, I would work with them to submit this application, because a lot of times charities don't have income generating activities that they could use as social enterprises. So you can be the, what do they call it? It's like the application, they use a different word than executor, but it's like you're the one delivering the actual program. And Adulas, great question. So a for-profit social enterprise on that spectrum, so a nonprofit that has income generating activity, that activity is considered the social enterprise. If you're a for-profit, and you have positive impact in the community, those activities, like you'd be operating as a social enterprise. So for example, I run a company called Detailing Nights. We provide, like the for-profit side is just providing car cleaning services. We go to people's houses, clean their cars, but then we employ youth that come out of detention. One, employ them, and two, teach them entrepreneurship. So we have that positive impact arm to what we do. So all of our profits are built into the community work that we do. So we operate the business as a social enterprise. Hope that gives a better understanding. It's kind of in the middle of the for-profit side and a nonprofit side. It kind of combines the two into the center. All right, so yeah, so this one is for your charity. Find a charity to partner with. I would recommend it because that way the charity can lead the grant application. So here's the other program that I'm hoping nobody procrastinated on. And again, I do understand that they did have a backlog when it first launched, but it's still one of the better programs that exist. The BADES Business Advisory and Business Advisory Implementation Development Services. So what the BBPA created is a way for your business to get access to services that it needs. So if you needed to complete a business plan or register your business, or even like help with loan applications and grant applications, or marketing strategy and marketing execution, they would partner you with those service providers, and then the service provider would invoice BBPA, and the BBPA would pay for those services. So instead of you coming out of pocket to hire a marketing agency to create a strategy and to execute the marketing strategy, the BBPA would now be able to cover that cost for you, and you'd be able to get those services done from the service provider. So I always tell people, if there's anything that you need, there's always something that you should be executing for your business. So if you're taking that next step, get support by using this grant. If you've seen grants that you want to go after, you can actually use this program, the BADES program, to apply to get a grant writer that can then do research and find what other grants are available and allow you to write. And again, I was talking about procrastinating. So their backlog, I think they're calling people back. They'll call you back and tell you that you're on a wait list for September. So if you're not in the queue, I would say get in the queue. And let me put this link into the chat so that everybody has it. But yes, and again, we've been talking about this grant since at least a year ago. So don't procrastinate. Make sure you get into the queue. They're still like bringing on additional resources. So maybe they'll be able to get through the queue a lot faster if they're able to get additional resources and funding. So apply, just follow up with them and say, hey, you know, I want to get an update on my status, especially if you already applied. Reach out to them, say that you want to get an update, and then see where you are. And if you're not getting any responses, please reach out to me. I'll do my best to kind of follow up with them. Since we're all part of the ecosystem together, we can check to see if we can get an update for you. And so question here, Dulas, the service providers, you have to use their own, or can we choose our own and they pay for it? So typically they have a list of service providers already. I do still say, if you're already working with somebody, make sure and mention it to your program director when you get in contact with them, because if they don't have that person on their list, you'd want to encourage that person to reach out and sign up as a service provider, and that way you'd be able to use them for your needs. And a lot of times it might be something that they might not have a person on their roster for already, so you'd be able to introduce this new service provider. But typically they say you can't pick, but you can still suggest and then kind of work through it. So I would still let them know who you're working with. And yes, so the question is, can you do both the digital adoption program and the RAISE program? The answer is yes. So the Canada Digital Adoption Program is a federal program from the Liberal government, and the RAISE program is the, oh my gosh, racialized and why am I forgetting this? Racialized and Indigenous support for entrepreneurs. That is a provincial program through the Ontario PC government. So yes, you can do both. And so the federal one, you can get access to 2,400, and the provincial one, you can get access to up to 10,000. So definitely apply for both. And you'll see here in this BAIDS application that before you could pick up to 3 services, but now you have to pick one at a time. And you'll see here, you can pick grant writing. So if there are grants that you've seen that you need a writer to help you with, I would definitely sign up and ask for a grant writer, or I would say marketing strategy and execution is a good one as well. I did see a question. I filled out the grant info for Digital Main Street, but the relaunch site says you're not enrolled. Yeah, you should have gotten email from Parkdale, and they ask you to fill out a form as well. If you didn't get that one, check in with them to make sure that you got that email. If you did the Parkdale form as well, then just follow up to see which cohort you're going to be able to join. And they would have invited you to an info session. So at the info session, you'd be able to ask like which cohort is next. So definitely, if you're not engaged with Parkdale yet, yeah, you have to get that email from them. All right, let's keep it moving. So the Toronto Enterprise Fund, they're not open right now, but they do also grants for social enterprises, but more specific to employment social enterprise. So if you're hiring from a segment of the population that has difficulty getting work and getting employed, then you starting a business that helps to hire that segment of the population would be considered an employment social enterprise. And they do different, like they have catalyzing grants that get you up to $10,000 to finish your feasibility study and fine tune your business plan. And then you can get up to $100,000 over 3 years to execute your employment social enterprise. So when that one opens, we're definitely gonna share. Actually, let's pull it up and see what it says. It's open. So you'll see they have this catalyzing grants. And then the sustaining grant is the $100,000 one. But let's see if this one is open. So I think something like, no problem, good. All right, so you'll see they do a webinar first, and then you go to workshop. You would apply to get into the accelerator. Once you go through the accelerator, you would then apply for the catalyzing grants. And then after the catalyzing grant, which would allow you to do your feasibility study and your business plan, you would apply for the startup grants. So I'm not seeing, this looks like old info from March. So they're probably in the middle of a cohort right now, but I don't see any deadlines. So yeah, when the next one's open, I'll let you know. All right. And so 2 main ones here in Ontario around nonprofits. Oh, I can grab that for you. Let me grab this link. So you can see the grants around the Toronto Enterprise Fund. All right, so the Ontario Trillium Foundation, again, so if you're not a nonprofit, and they do have a stipulation, I think that you have to be operational for at least 2 years for their traditional Ontario Trillium Foundation grants. For the Youth Opportunities Fund, you can be a grassroots organization. It can be just an idea that you're starting out with, and you're able to there's two different grant streams. So you'll see we have the youth innovation stream and the family innovation stream. The one that we had gotten before was the youth innovations test grants. And then after you go through the test grant, you can then go for the scale grant. Same thing with the families innovation, you can go through the test grants, and then after that, you can go for the scale grant. And they do have a systems innovation grant, which does look at bigger collaboratives. So if you're interested in really attacking systems change, they do have this grant available for that. So since if you're a grassroots organization, you wouldn't be incorporated as like a traditional nonprofit, you would need an organizational mentor, which is basically a trustee that the funds flow to the trustee and then the trustee sends it to you and they handle all the accounting sides of it since you're not incorporated. But I'll show you a bit of the test grant that we applied for. You can do up to 3 years and up to $85,000 per year. And this is where I really encourage people to go through or attempt to go through the Youth Opportunities Fund. One, because if you're a for-profit, you can carve out the positive community impact that you do and create a grassroots entity that could apply for this. And that's what we did with Detail Ignites. We created the Knighthood Academy, which was pretty much just the entrepreneurship training piece of it, and was able to apply for the Youth Opportunities Fund. Or you can partner with, thanks. You can partner with a nonprofit and kind of combine and create a grassroots organization. But if you wanted to go for the Trillium Foundation, we can go back and pull that up. So as due to the question, Don G, the age range for the Youth Opportunities Grant, Youth Opportunities Fund, is a team that needs to be under 30, but it can be an adult youth partnership. So when I initially applied for it, I was over 30, and then the team I was working with was under 30. So there can be one adult and two youth as a team of 3 that makes up the core team, and you're able to apply for it. So it does ask if it's a purely youth-led project or if it's an adult youth partnership. So technically there's an age range, but you can do both. And so this is where the Ontario Community Trillium Foundation, they have their seed and grow grants. Oh, I thought they had announced their update, their deadline. So this one is up to 75,000. If this one's not open, let's see which ones are open. They have their grow grants. And it's not showing upcoming deadline. And I'm pretty sure we didn't miss it. Let me see. It might be the Resilient Communities Fund that they're focusing on. All right, so this has the next deadline of December 7th, and you can get between 10,000 up to 100,000 over 24 months. Yes, we do. So since you came to this session, the question is, do we have an email newsletter or service that talks about all the grants? Yes, in our newsletter, but the newsletter pretty much does an update if new ones come out, and then the info sessions, we dig deeper into them. But we do definitely, so we'll plug you into the newsletter for sure. All right, and actually I forgot to look at the deadlines for the Youth Opportunities Fund. So let me pull that one up. And how these ones usually work, you have to submit an expression of interest. So you'll see here, the expression of interest is due August the 24th. And then, so they say, well, 7 weeks after that, and then they ask you to write the full grant to November 9th. And now about 5 to 6 weeks after that, you would be notified. You have to find an organizational mentor by the January 27th. And the start date for all grants can be no earlier than May 1st. Holy smokes. So this is where it kind of segues into our next topic. Well, actually not yet, But we talk about the difference between going for grants and going for loans and other types of capital. The grant timelines for this one that we were just looking at is actually a year. Well, it's a year from knowing about it. The expression of interest is due, let's see, when is it due? I believe that was August. So between August and May is the timeline that your project would start. So you can see it's actually, usually I say 4 to 6 months, it's actually more than 6 months. So this is where, if you're waiting for funding from a grant to be able to launch your project, it does take a long time. And a lot of times, especially for businesses, you'd want to be able to action your business a lot sooner. So looking at something like a microloan or one of the other loan programs, such as the Black Opportunity Fund, would at least allow you to start to operate. And so the Black Opportunity Fund, they created the Black Entrepreneur Program in partnership with CIBC and the Black Chamber of Commerce. Oh, what did I click on? All right. And so it's actually tied into CIBC's Black Entrepreneurship Program, which is a loan that allows you to get between 10,000 up to 250,000. And for those that are going through that process, but still need support with finishing their business plan or the cash flow projections, or maybe fine tuning like their marketing strategy, they would get plugged into this Black Opportunity Fund and Black Chamber of Commerce program. So you're eligible to go through these different programs that they have, which range from their 12-month Propel Masterclass. They have a 90-day business accelerator. They have a personal credit acceleration program, a food incubation program. So all these programs pretty much help you to finalize your business plan, and then would help you apply for the loan. And each of these, they have different milestones that they set. So you're able to get grants up to $2,000 based on finishing some of these programs. And then, as we'll see, it'll allow you to plug back into the grant, the loan program that CIBC has. So when you're applying, it actually takes you to the CIBC link. And then, so this will tell you a bit more about the program where you can get up to 250,000. And then you'll see here, it says, if you don't qualify just yet, you're able to go through the grant program of 2,000 with the Black Opportunity Fund. All right. So what's interesting about their loan program is they do split it into 2 types of loans, where they have an equipment and leasehold improvement. If you're going for that kind of loan, and let me put this link so you have it. Your repayment can be over 10 years. If you're going for, and you can get the 5,000 all the way up to 250,000. If you're going for working capital, you can access 5,000 to 100,000. And you have to pay it back over 2 years. All right. And so the way they word it is that if you haven't been successful getting a loan, you're able to go for the grant side. But if you identify that you don't want to go for the loan just yet, you should be able to still go through the grant side. And that's where, when you sign up, and you'll see it asks you like to pretty much ask for a callback. So you send them your information, you say, I'm interested. Right here, if you say that, let's say you don't have your financial statements and you don't have your business plan, that would trigger, so the phone call would be about the grant program. So you shouldn't have to apply for the loan and get declined in order to get into the grant program. You should be able to just go directly in. But that's something I will confirm. But yeah, if you don't have these things, you wouldn't be able to apply for the loan anyway. And the grant program is supposed to help you finish these things. So yes, you should be able to just go directly in. All right. And you'll see there are various other loan programs that have come about. So Alterna has one in partnership with BDC. RBC has a similar one they call the Black Entrepreneurship Program, and the Bank of Montreal, BMO here, they have one as well. So when you get this slide deck, you'll be able to check through all of them. And I always say, if you're looking for capital and loans is something that would support what you're doing, apply for all four and see which one will get you to the finish line first. If these loan programs to the banks aren't something that like doesn't match what you're looking for, there are other community loan programs. Of course, we have one, ACBN. With our microloan, you can get between 500 to 25,000. With Access Community Capital Fund, you can get up to 5,000. Rise Asset Development, they can get up to 10,000. The Face Coalition, which is also part of that federal Black Entrepreneurship Program, you're able to get between 10,000 up to 250,000. And Futurepreneur has a Black Entrepreneurship Program where you can get up to 60,000. All right. So like I always say, the money is out there. It's just a matter of what type of money fits what you're comfortable with and also fits what you qualify for. But in order to dig deeper into what you do qualify for and what you don't and what is available, we do offer that service. So if you do need support with either grant research, capital research, or the actual writing of these grant applications or loan applications, please do follow up, reach out to us. I always say that we exist to see you win, whether you're an entrepreneur or an executive director of a nonprofit, and we want to see it grow. So growing your business, if you're not interested in seeing it grow and you're happy with where it is right now, we're not really a good fit. But if you do want to see what resources are there to help you continue to grow and build your team, definitely reach out. And great point where Tim has put into the chat. Be careful about applying for all 4 bank loans because your credit will get dinged. So when I say apply, it's more reaching out to them, finding out what information that they need, submitting that information. And so when you get to the point that they're going to pull your credit, whoever gets you to that point the fastest is, I would say, the one that you would go with. I wouldn't say apply and make all 4 of them pull your credit, and whoever gets you to that point that they're pulling your credit and are going to give you a yes or no, that's the bank that I would go with. So don't let all 4 pull your credit. Yeah, that would just ding it and is not a good look. So as I always say, I'm super excited to be able to work with you in whichever capacity makes sense. My contact information is here. Please feel free to reach out. And there is a question that talks about, do I know what the minimum credit score would be? I've heard with CIBC, it's around 600. I've heard the same thing with the Face Coalition. So I would assume RBC, Bank of Montreal, they have about a 600 criteria as well. I know they're somewhat flexible with it, but I haven't heard anything less than 600. So I'll definitely, when you do reach out, ask the question as part of the criteria, what type of credit score are you looking for? And you'd get a more definitive answer, but I would use about 600 as the minimum that they would even entertain. And here Tim is saying all the Black entrepreneur programs at the banks are 600 minimum scores. So that'll give you a bit more definitive. But let me stop sharing and open up the floor, see if there's any questions. I know I'll do my best to answer as we went along, but if there's anything else that people have questions about, feel free. The floor is yours.
Hey, Ryan, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
So as a quick question that's probably a little bit technical regarding these bank loans, business bank loans. If you say start a business that's a corporation, and can you take a business bank loan in the corporation's name, and then yes, you as the owner are not personally liable for the bank loan? So is that possible?
It is possible, I would say, in a traditional sense. What I've seen with these programs that they've created is that they're personally backed. So that's why they're asking for your personal credit score and credit check. So with the loan programs, I haven't seen that possible, but with traditionally, you could go to the bank, they'd be able to run your business credit and you wouldn't have to personally back it. That does exist, but I haven't seen it as an option with these new programs that they created. I'm curious, I don't know, Tim, have you seen anything different, or are you seeing it that it's backed by personal? You might only be able to type. And let me check. I did see. Okay, so yeah, he's talking about their standard lending practice that it does have to be personally guaranteed. So yeah, I would expect that with the bank loans. I haven't seen where it's just the business only. It's always backed by somebody. All right, Don G, did you want to unmute?
I was just trying to clarify where that page was, where you can just apply for the grant, where it would just give you the option to apply for the grant through CIBC.
Right, so the grant section, I'll put that link in here, but when you click on apply, it takes you to the CIBC. You have to apply through them.
Yeah, so I'm on this page, but there was a section that you were showing.
Yeah, so this link here, we'll talk more about the grant.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. I see Renee, you have a question there? Oh, is it able to unmute?
Okay, I got a question, Ryan.
Oh, sure.
Great. Now, in terms of the loans for CIBC, do you have to have collateral?
So I haven't seen them ask for, let's say, traditionally, like they'd ask you to, let's say, put up your house, or like really it's only the personal guarantee. How they structure is that they don't back it against collateral. So typically they do. For this program, I haven't seen them ask you to put up collateral. But that's why there's different lending criteria for if you're getting funding for like equipment or leasehold improvements, because they'd probably use that as the collateral. Or if you're just getting working capital, you can't get the max amounts because there's no collateral to put it against.
Thank you.
Okay, Ryan, I think I'm unmuted now. Thank you. Okay, I think you touched on it briefly. As I said, what I've been noticing for the non-for-profit grants, they are asking you to be also a charity, but not everybody is a charity. I think you did touch on it where we have to have like, what did you say? To apply now. So nonprofits you can apply, but they want you to have like a trustee, as you said. Why is that now in? Okay, I'm not hearing.
Either with the investment readiness program, you would have to partner with a charity in order for them to be the lead on the application. For something like the Youth Opportunities Fund, if you're not a charity or not a nonprofit, they would be your trustee. So you would find a nonprofit to be your organizational mentor, and then they wouldn't lead the application. You would still write it and be the lead of the application, but then they would be your trustee just for the funds and to support like the execution of that part.
So then we'd have to like partner with them, or are they just holding the money, or we would have to like partner with them and do a project with them too? Right.
So when they're your trustee, you don't have to partner with them. So you're not doing the project together.
Right.
Like, for example, we have a trustee for our youth program. They pretty much just get the money from Trillium and send it to us. And we just do the program. So they just handle like the accounting side.
Okay.
But yeah, you don't have to like partner and do the program together.
So is there somebody holding the money for you? That is a charity.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. Thanks.
No problem. Don G, did you want to go ahead?
Yes, my question is, with this Black Opportunity Fund program, I'm noticing that some of them are from the CBCC.
Yes.
like the Avro, the business plan writing, and the mastermind. If you're already enrolled with the CBCC, are you still able to apply for this?
Yes. So CBCC is like the, I guess, the support executing division. So the Black Opportunity Fund, they don't do the programs.
Okay.
CBCC does. So now if you're already in a CBCC program, what you want to do is let them know it should already be automatic. Their programs are tied to the grants. But if not, let them know that you're interested in the grant through the Black Opportunity Fund. And you want to know when you finish this program, what is the grant that comes out of it?
Should I let the CBCC know that or the Black Opportunity Fund?
CBCC, since you're
Okay.
already in it. Yeah.
So would it still make sense to apply through the Black Opportunity Fund for the
Only
grant?
if- yeah, only if you're thinking about going for the loan after.
Okay,
Since you have to apply for CIB through CIBC, then you would want to start talking to CIBC and let them know that you're already in the CBCC program.
okay, so let CBCC know that I'd like information on the grant from the Black Opportunity Fund that's provided after the program's completed.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Ryan.
And for those, I know the acronyms start flying. So CBCC is the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce. And then, yeah, CIBC is the bank. Cool, cool. I know we do have a couple more minutes, but let me know if there's any additional questions. Happy to give 3 minutes of your life back so you can enjoy. Is it sunny out? I don't know if it's sunny. Actually looks nice. This,
Hey, Ryan, can you hear me?
hey, Tim, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Is it possible? What you're doing here is extremely important. Is it possible to do a weekly talk Q&A about grants and loans without going into specific grants and loans? Just a Q&A. I'm sure that there's hundreds and hundreds of people, maybe thousands of people in our ecosystem that will have lots of questions, and we could all answer it together if we have some people on the panel. I'm not sure if that's possible at all. If you guys thought about that.
Yeah, I would love to execute something like that. And even like, again, based on who would be available to answer the questions, maybe we can start it as like similar to this where it's bi-weekly, but more than happy to turn it weekly because like you said, there's so many questions, especially when people are already writing, we could figure that out.
Well, I'm in. Just let me know. I'm in for sure.
All right, amazing. I appreciate that. And I did see a hand go up with Adulis.
Yeah, Ryan. So a couple of questions. One is what are these Black Opportunity Fund? Who is this? This seems like it's a separate organization from everybody else, right? It's its own thing.
Yes. Yeah, so they were started, oh my goodness, yeah, late 2020. And it was more professionals that were in, I would say, the banking industry. They came together to create the Black Opportunity Fund. They do touch on, I would say, different themes in the community, not just economics, but like health and justice. But they've started to create these programs for entrepreneurs. And yeah, they've created partnerships with different banks. I know TD's giving them money, National Bank, CIBC. So they're creating pretty much their own programming. So it's good to, I don't know if you can get on their newsletter, like if you go to their website, but they've done some reporting and you'd be able to get updates directly from them.
Okay, great. And regarding, I think you said you're going to mention the Grant Hunter University, similar to what Tim said, like you're providing so much value, so much information. Not only this, there's deadlines that are closed all the time and new programs are open. Like this is like a year-round constant thing of all of these things closing, opening, who is it for, what is the eligibility requirements, you know, what is a social enterprise, all of these things. Like there's definitely you know, an opportunity here. I don't know whether it's a business or, because that's I come from the music industry, so I know there's actual grant writers. If they get you, you know, a grant, let's say they get you 20 grand and then you break them off a piece, which is like, yo, you brought me 20 grand, here's whatever. Yeah, so something, I don't know, there's something there though. There's some, There's a lot of
Yeah, and I put into the
information
chat the link for Grant Hunter University, and really it's taking these types of videos and walking you through completing your own grant blueprint. And again, if you wanted to offboard the grant process, we do have that available. I'll put the link for Empowered for X.
By the way, I think that website, the Grant Hunter, doesn't work. I don't know, something's wrong with my
Oh, let me check.
on my end. I don't know if it's working for anybody else.
It looks like there's a typo in the spelling why it's not working.
Oh, you're right. I put an I in there for some reason. Yeah, if you take out the I, it works better. Sorry about that. All right, solid. And I do apologize. I did have to run to a 2 p.m., but let me make sure and put my contact info in the chat just in case you wanted to send me an email. And also you can connect with Empowered for X Direct. And Tim, I'm gonna follow up with you about that weekly Q&A. So we'll definitely touch base.
Thanks for your time today, Ryan.
Thank you.
Always my pleasure. All right, have a good one, everyone. We shall talk soon.